From ABC News, around the world and into your home, the stories that touch your life. This is 2020.
Good evening, and welcome back to 2020. My name is Frank Slade, and we have an excellent program for you tonight. According to the United States Department of Labor, in 2013, 9 million Americans were employed in sales positions, with total yearly earnings surpassing $340 billion. Historically, motivating said salespeople was a matter of compensation, tying significant portions of income to individual sales and performance. However, to quote Bob Dylan, times, they are a-changin'. Successful sales is now much more complex than just picking up the phone and sticking to a script. Today's business-to-business sales environment is generally more complex and requires a deeper understanding of not only the company's products and services, but also how the customer's business functions and creates value. Modern saleswomen and salesmen do their best work when they help customize a product to a client's individual needs, often finding one-of-a-kind solutions that aren't in the script. If sales reps are strapped into an if-then incentive system, it becomes harder to be resourceful. Modern professionals, including many of our viewers at home, have stopped and taken notice. Modern compensation trends are evolving rapidly, especially in complex sales deals. To encourage motivation and creativity in long and complicated sales deals, contemporary theory stresses more generous base salary and bonuses tied to overall corporate profitability and other broad metrics. It is believed that doing so aligns seller interests with the long-term horizon of their own company. With less rewards and emphasis placed on the individual to make a quick sale, salesmen and women are encouraged to use their team and resources to develop value-added relationships. Contemporary compensation plans are admired for repositioning the motivations of complex sales forces. But is this enough? Are efficient compensation plans the only means of motivating and supporting a sales force? Research says no, not by a long shot. Earlier this week, I had the privilege of sitting down with Charlie Sims, author of Hoo-Wah, The Art of Inspirational Sales Leadership. Professor Sims, a tenured professor at both Harvard and Oxford, is the leading expert in inspirational sales leadership. Let's have a look at our interview from last week and see what he had to say about maximizing the underutilized performance of sales professionals. Professor Sims, thank you for joining us today.
Not a problem. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right into it. In terms of motivation, the first thing that most people think of is compensation. You discussed the transition from high variable compensation to a high base salary. Can you explain why this is important and what the impact of this change would be?
Sure. Research has shown that extrinsic motivation such as commission and bonuses is not the ideal method of enhancing sales performance. In the 21st century, the sales process has shifted from a transactional basis to a much more complex relationship-based system. Extrinsic motivators are not effective for improving creativity or abstract thinking, something that salespeople have to do every day. On the other hand, finding ways to improve intrinsic motivation is the future of sales compensation. This shift from a low base salary system to a higher base salaries eliminates the transactional relationship between employers and sales professionals, while also encouraging motivation to come from other aspects of both the employer-salesperson relationship and the client-salesperson relationship.
Let's talk a little bit about the future of motivating a sales force, specifically those in complex deals. What do you suggest businesses do in terms of maximizing sales performance?
Great question, Frank. In my book, I introduce a 5-step approach that I believe will improve salesperson performance, motivation, and effectiveness. The first step to improving sales performance is to actually understand the individual and situational behaviors that drive performance on a company basis. To do this, we suggest organizations build a performance equation. This tool breaks down the individual components of the sale for each organization. This will allow managers to see where in the process sales are being lost and where each employee is struggling within the process.
In your book, you touch on the concepts of mastery and autonomy. Can you explain the impact that mastery and autonomy has on motivation and performance?
Sure. Well, the second step is to introduce mastery and autonomy to your salespeople based on the performance equation. Mastery is simply providing opportunities for the salespeople to grow and develop their skills, while autonomy is increasing salesperson freedom. Both of these concepts have a significant impact on motivation. Research shows that salary increases begin to lose impact past a certain point, and other needs must be met in order to keep employees motivated and satisfied. The two primary needs in this case are training towards mastery and freedom.
Can you discuss a little further how a company can encourage and promote mastery?
Of course. Mastery comes from training salespeople in all aspects of the individual components of the performance equation. That's from networking to implementation. Providing training in each step of this selling process means that salespeople will continually be challenged and be developing valuable skills for your organization. For example, within the performance equation, a training program can be made specifically for increasing prospects. The productivity driver for this task is to increase networking efficiency. The specific behaviors to train to improve networking include things like asking for referrals, managing relationships with consistent follow-ups, connecting with superconnectors in different industries, and attending important conferences.
And could you also explain the same processes for autonomy?
Yeah, there are 4 ways managers can increase salesperson autonomy: time, task, team, and technique. Freedom with respect to time can be established by adjusting the required work hours. Some organizations have salespeople stay for the 9 to 5 each day. But extending work to off hours, where salespeople can do non-client related work, will improve morale and productivity, especially since some people are more productive in the mornings or evenings. Freedom with respect to tasks can be implemented by allowing salespeople to choose or rotate amongst different clients or types of clients. Freedom with respect to team is difficult to implement, but when writing my book I found that self-directed teams are a very beneficial tool. Finally, freedom with respect to technique comes from inspirational leadership. This means ending micromanaging and increasing independence. Every salesperson has a different characteristics. It is up to the managers to allow for the different selling styles to flourish.
That's a very comprehensive approach, and you've touched on a variety of strategies for improving motivation and performance. The concern with reducing compensation brings up the question of feedback. Commission based on sales quotas seems to provide an objective feedback mechanism for salespeople. Can you elaborate on this for us, please?
Yes. In my book, I suggest implementing a quarterly qualitative performance review. This review would consist of progress with respect to the training and development of salespeople, as well as the client-side relationship development. This ongoing process ensures that both salespeople and managers are aware of the progress being made with the development program.
Excellent. Well, thank you. We're actually going to change up the gears a bit here. We had a few viewers tweet in some questions this afternoon. @AwesomePossum asks, how does a company actually go about creating the performance equation, and can companies implement it themselves?
Good question. Performance equations must be customized for each organization in order to be effective. I provided a general guideline in my book showing first steps and case studies. However, most organizations, especially the smaller ones, don't usually have the resources or the technical expertise to do such an analysis. Because of this, I recommend firms hire professional assistants in order to provide a comprehensive and customized plan.
You Add Me at Hello asks, where do you see the future of sales going in terms of complexity?
Absolutely. Technology and automation are actually removing the need for transactional salespeople. It is predicted that the number of salesmen and women will decrease in the next 20 years. What will become the growing standard is the use of sales professionals in primarily complex deals, which is why it is so important that there is a paradigm shift in terms of motivation and compensation.
We have a third question. This one is from Insert Name Here. With the removal of performance bonuses based on quotas, how will firms accurately evaluate employee performance?
Sure. We suggest taking a holistic approach and basing employee evaluations on the larger organizational performance. But more specifically, this issue can be addressed by sales managers taking on a more involved role in their sales force, increasing communication, providing feedback, and having regular performance discussions with their salespeople. This will remove the guessing work out of performance reviews.
And finally, @Jim Hamilton asks, it's a weird name.
It is.
Yeah. How will organizations who switch to more stable compensation plans be able to retain or attract high-performance salespeople?
That's a great question. You've touched on a concern that many organizations also have. My response to this is that if your salespeople are only motivated by the dollar, it will be impossible to retain them for an extended period of time. There's always someone willing to pay more. However, the process I've discussed in this interview is proven to increase employee motivation and satisfaction, which I believe outweighs any economic benefits that others may offer.
Next time we'll be discussing puppies. Furry friend or silent killer? I'm Frank Slade, and from all of us at 2020, have a great evening.